Robin, which AV technologies and services are we talking about when we say ecosystems? It's a quite new word for AV, isn't it, ecosystems? What do we mean by it?
It's a new word. I've been using it already for about 6 months, and I love the term ecosystem. It's just a series of technologies that work nicely together, that are balanced and work collectively. So that's why I like ecosystem.
We're thinking beyond the product in a way, aren't we? We're thinking about the environment and how different products fit together. And I mean, not a straightforward task, I would have thought, for the average end user to think about.
No, correct. I think what we're going to is we're looking for tools and not particularly, like you say, products, but tools that will make their lives easier and better. And that's basically the vision behind this.
People are trying to create smart areas in their spaces, and I'm not quite sure what smart means anymore, but I think we're at a crossroads of how people think about their environments and what AV products they put in them. And clearly there are straightforward uses for some rooms, but actually we're getting into the wider office environment. The choice and decision strategically, which is where we're going with AV, I think, is much more difficult. I mean, what sort of advice do you give people when they're thinking about the wider environment and the ecosystem thinking?
I think you're saying now the smart space is actually the onset of the bigger picture after the ecosystem. So when you're looking at a smart space, you're thinking about intelligence. So with intelligence means not just intelligence in terms of functionality, but it's in terms of its execution and the way it's deployed, maintained. So there's a whole sequence of events that go with it, but for the end, so and each division or each person has a different role in this. So from a maintenance point of view, that's the integrator, right, for the servicing of that space. So it's a smart space should be much easier to service. Then for the end user, with an easier service comes a much better performance, so better utility. And then more efficient use of these spaces, because they are certain degree of intelligence built into it. So there's a lot more efficiency tied into it.
So we're moving away from product into sort of bigger picture view of what AV can and can't do, really. And we've had problems really for people outside the industry understanding what we do. And actually this is the step in their direction, which actually elevates AV into a much more strategic operating environment.
Correct. Yeah, and I think we've done this in a certain way. I've seen this coming now, the trend over the last few years. If you see the actual value of AV equipment in a meeting room actually going down. So as the value of the hardware per meeting room is going down, the product's getting cheaper, but not just that, it's becoming a lot less complicated. So now it's going to be more challenging for the integrator to make money in a more simplified environment. So we now have to look at ways that the integrator can deliver tools and services to the end user to make more added value and money in the process.
Do you feel they're a bit away from that point at the moment?
No, we're definitely at that point right now. It's definitely happening full on. You see less and less huge racks being built, deployed. It's simpler systems, smaller meeting rooms. Okay, you always have the high-end boardrooms and complex auditoria, but everybody's recognizing that the volume that everybody's chasing now is in the small, simplified meeting space, and that's the one that we're calling the smart space. So the take on it is, you know what, now we need to deliver a vehicle that can deliver the smart space.
It's about encouraging people also to think what they're doing in that space and what the best use of it is. We always quote Google as a sort of example, because they seem to be one of the few people who are actually measuring it and fathoming out, experimenting with what people are trying to do. We don't really know, but I think that most people's fear, or tends to be, is that the use of a space is going to become more sophisticated, and then we're saying, well, can the technology itself, is it able to cope with what increased user demands are going to be putting on them?
I think, there's two types of spaces that we see. One space which I see the more volume on is the space where you're using to have Teams meetings or that kind of environment. So you're seeing a conferencing environment. that we see a lot of growth on that side. And then we've got the traditional presentation rooms, then we're now not using them as presentation rooms, they're collaboration spaces. So we have to look at offering tools and technology that work in those. And those are much more complicated environments.
Of course, the IT world, when it thinks of groups and clusters of products working together, they naturally assume, especially if they're networked, they're all interoperable and they all work whatever it is. How far are we away from that with AV? Because it's not been traditionally known as a producer of interoperable environments. It's all been quite proprietary, haven't they? Yeah,
correct. But I think everybody's been now heading direction of IP. Everybody's seeing it. You see video over IP is now commonplace in this world. So no, the proprietary thing is now dying. It's normal death. It's coming to an end there. Everything's going IP. We do occasionally see some proprietary connections between different boxes, but it's extremely rare now. Because it doesn't have all the nice tools to come with it. Because if you don't use it on the open platform, then you don't have all the nice tools to be able to service, monitor, control those devices on the network.
Are we all going more cloud-based?
Also,
are we?
Yeah. Also, absolutely, cloud and just management. If you're an organization, you've got 10,000 rooms, and they're all connected, and you have to update firmware. Gone are the days that you have to go room by room to update firmware. Now it's just automatic, comes straight from the cloud and updates all your devices. So without even the customer noticing it's happening. So that's the kind of IT mindset that they're used to. So now we are just delivering it from an AV point of view.
Is the type of customer going to change? Are they going to be more C-suite type of people who manage this? If the technology itself is becoming more strategic, is this going to be the realm of the CIO or
Absolutely.
Or people who are?
Yeah, they are. Now we're a big part of that audiovisual. The IT budget, and then the minute you're in that, you're a part of that bigger picture. Definitely with the CTOs.